Welcome viewers to another session of English. My name is Mr. Wanyonyi, for those who are watching me for the first time, a teacher of English at Ansaaru Primary School. So today's lesson, I would like us to study together in composition writing. And before we look at the composition as it was introduced last time by one of my core teachers by the name Dan Majron, I would like us to have a brief recap of what we were discussing in the previous session. In the previous session, we were looking at correlatives. And as I told you that correlatives, these are paired words. In other words, paired conjunctions. To be particular, we were to wind up by looking at the use of very but and also very and. These are the two remaining areas that we didn't capture in our correlatives after capturing the use of either or, both and, neither nor, not only but also among others. So, very bad is used when you are referring to contrast. Very and is used when you are referring to the reason. Contrast in simple language means going against the expectations. Then, if you consider the two sentences, for example, mathematics exam or mathematics was very hard. Till I got 90%, or in words that is 90%. The expectations here, viewers, is that now that the mathematics examination was hard, it was expected that the pupils or candidates in this case will not do it very well. But so happens that this pupil mentioning this has overturned the tables. The expectations were this pupil was to fail, but managing to get 90%, the pupil has passed. That's why I've said that when you use very bad, we refer to the contrast, the opposite, thus you go against the expectations. So this sentence, if joined with very bad, it becomes mathematics was very hard, but I got 90%. Very bad. This was introduced in Standard 7. That very bad, when used in a sentence, it is used to express contrast. Contrast to mean going against the expectations. In our two sentences, just to lay emphasis, the expectations are this candidate or this pupil or this class was expected not to do well in this mathematics paper. But when the paper was marked, it has emerged that the candidate did well. So going against the expectations. Consider another sentence. Mathematics was hard. I failed terribly by getting 10%. Now one may ask, why did this child fail terribly getting 10% in mathematics? The answer is as simple as mathematics was very hard. In that case, we are looking at the reason, not contrast. The reason as to why this child failed terribly in mathematics is because the paper was hard. Therefore, the two sentences can be written as mathematics was very hard and I failed terribly getting 10%. Mathematics was very hard and I failed terribly getting 10%. So in these two sentences, you can add that preposition by. You realize that in the second sentence we have used very and to express the reason as to why this pupil failed terribly in mathematics, managing to get only 10%. In the first sentence, we are expressing contrast in that as much as the mathematics paper was very hard, this child managed to get 90%, going against the expectations. So please note in the use of the two conjunctions. Finally, before we look at today's item, is the use of not only but also. Not only but also. This one is treated as a conjunction of addition. Consider the following sentence. Joseph is very hardworking. Or just Joseph is hardworking. Joseph is hardworking. And two, Joseph is disciplined. Remember, viewers, hard work goes hand in hand with discipline. If you are hardworking and disciplined, you succeed. However, if you are hardworking but indisciplined, you fail. So, when you look at the two sentences, Joseph is hardworking, Joseph is disciplined. We can join these two attributes of Joseph using not only but also without changing the meaning of the sentence. Therefore, the sentence becomes Joseph is not only hardworking but also disciplined. Joseph is not only hardworking but also disciplined. This is an area we looked at in the previous session. Today, I would like us to look at speech writing composition. I will not go into the nitty-gritties of what a composition is, the types of compositions. This area was introduced in the previous session by one of my core teachers. So today, let us narrow down to what speech writing composition is. What are the expectations of this lesson? 1. As a viewer, you need to find out what a speech is. That's the first item. What is a speech? 2, as a viewer, you need to find out how different is speech writing composition from other types of compositions. How different is speech writing different from other types of compositions? Those are the 2 key inquiry questions as a viewer, as a candidate, as a writer, as a learner. You need to ask yourself and get the possible answers to the same. To begin with, let us find out what a speech is. Viewers, a speech is a public address. A speech is a public address. A speech is a public address, or this is a talk given to the public. A talk given to the public. Now that a speech is a public address, a speech is a talk given to the public, the question that should ring into our mind is, who gives this talk to the public? And what is this public we are talking about? 2 things for you to understand. 1, in a speech writing composition, you need to find out who a speaker is. 2, in a speech writing composition, you need to find out who is part of the audience. The word speaker comes from the word speak. A speaker is the person giving a talk to the public. A speaker is a person presenting a speech to the public. So this is a person presenting a speech. The audience, these are the people being talked to, or the people being addressed by the speaker. Therefore, viewers, whereas in other types of composition we don't bring on board such, in a speech writing composition, these 2 items are very fundamental. That you need to understand that in a speech writing composition, it is the speaker addressing, it is the speaker giving a talk, it is the speaker making a speech, it's the speaker addressing the public. Therefore, this public is the one we are referring to as the audience. Then how different is speech writing composition from other types of composition? 1. So viewers, note down the differences. What makes a speech writing composition different from? 1. A narrative. What makes it look different from? 2. Letter writing. What makes it look different from? 3. Proverb writing. What makes it different from? 4. Descriptive writing. What makes it different from? 5. Minute writing. Among others, like discursive and others, guided composition and others. So what makes this speech different from this? 1. Speech writing composition is written in direct speech. Speech writing composition is written in direct speech. If you can have a review yourself of what we discussed on direct and indirect speech, you can buy it with me that a sentence is said to be in direct speech if we enclose the speech words using the opening and closing inverted commas. That's what we said in the previous lesson. That a sentence is said to be in direct speech if we enclose the speech words, we enclose the spoken words, we enclose the actual words, we enclose the real words, we enclose the exact words of the speaker using the opening and closing inverted commas, simply sometimes referred to as the sixes and the sevens. To emphasize further, the opening inverted commas in this case of speech writing composition, the opening inverted commas shall be placed at the commencement of the speaker's spoken words. However, the closing inverted commas shall be placed at the end to mark the end of the speaker's speech. We have mushrooming writers, mushrooming publishers, who sometimes when you read these written books, you may find yourself in a confusion blog. Take note. There are those books which confuse learners. Written composition books that have hit the market. Please take note. You find some books placing the opening inverted commas at the beginning of every paragraph, closing at the end of every paragraph, beginning the paragraph, ending the paragraph, beginning the paragraph, ending the paragraph. Don't follow such. My point is simple and clear. Take note. The opening inverted commas are placed at the beginning of the speech, and the closing inverted commas are placed at the end of the speech, being given by the speaker in question. That's point number one. Point number two. There is a confusion somewhere which most candidates fail to understand this point. That if, and underline my words, if the speaker in this case is the one writing the speech, the one giving the speech, then the opening and closing inverted commas are discarded. They are not used. Get me clearly. Point number two. If the speaker of the speech, the speaker presenting the speech is the writer, then the opening and closing inverted commas are not used in speech writing composition. However, if the writer in this case assumes the position of another speaker, then the opening and closing inverted commas are used. Take note of the 2 points. if you are the speaker as a candidate, you are the one giving a speech in the capacity of a given person, then you don't use opening and closing inverted commas, because you cannot quote your own words. However, if you are writing a speech which was presented to the public by another person, so it isn't your speech which you presented yourself, then opening and closing inverted commas are used. In other words, place it in direct speech. Second difference. First person pronoun is used. First person pronoun is used. What is this first person pronoun we are talking about? So the first one was written in direct speech. Second one is first person pronoun is used. First person pronoun here, I mean I or we. First person pronoun is used. In this case, I mean I or we. Consider the following simple paragraph. Consider the following paragraph that ladies and gentlemen, when the proverbial hare failed to reach the grapes, he claimed they were unripe. When the proverbial hare failed to reach the grapes, he complained they were unripe. Today, I am humbled and honored to stand before you to give a talk about importance of trees. My name is Abrizak Abdullahi Abdullahi. And as we gather here today, I humbly beg that we, so look at that simple paragraph. Ladies and gentlemen, when the proverbial hare failed to reach the grapes, he claimed they were unripe. Today, I, first person, am humbled and honored to stand before you to give a talk about importance of trees. My name is Abdullah Abdullahi, and as we, first person pronoun, as we gather here today, I humbly, first person pronoun still, beg that we, first person pronoun. So please note, speech writing composition is written using the first person pronoun. Fine, on rare circumstances, depending on the context of the sentence, second person, third person may come in, but strictly it is written using first person pronoun in this case. So because of time, we may not be able to complete the entire exercise. As I always tell you, Rome was not built in a day. We have today discussed speech writing composition. Two key questions that should linger in your minds. One, what is a speech? And I've said that a speech is a public address. A speech is a talk given to the public. And for you to be able to understand what a speech is, two items are very key. One, find out who a speaker is. Two, find out what the audience is. So a speaker is a person giving the talk. A speaker is the person presenting the speech to the public. The public in general is what you are referring to the audience. Audience class 4 as a group word. You are told by your teacher that an audience is a group of people gathered somewhere listening to a speech. And that's why we say the public in this case is the audience. People being talked to, people being addressed by the speaker. Second question was, how different is speech writing how different is speech writing from? How different is speech writing from other types of compositions? There are basically 4 differences. The first difference that we have discussed is that speech writing composition is written in direct speech. Direct speech in a manner that we are supposed to enclose the speaker's words using the opening and closing inverted commas on condition that one, first, the opening inverted commas are placed at the beginning of the speech, just like what I've done. 2, the closing inverted commas are placed at the end of the speech if I were to continue with it up to somewhere here. Second condition, we use opening inverted commas in speech writing only if and if only the speaker is not the presenter. In this case, you are quoting a speech that was presented by another speaker. So assumably, you are writing a speech on behalf of another person. But if it is you as the speaker, the one writing as you present, assuming in that context, then the opening and closing inverted commas are not used. So use them if you are writing a speech on behalf of somebody else. Writing the speech that was presented by another person, not you as the writer. Secondly, speech writing composition, we use first person pronoun, which can be I, which can be it, we. The way I've used mine here, in this position, I've also used another one in that position, I've also used another one in that position, also another one in that position. 4 positions. So may we have the remaining 2 in the subsequent session. As I leave you, please brainstorm also to find out what other differences are that make speech writing composition different from other forms of writing, like narratives, like letter writing, like proverb, like descriptive, like
minute writing. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening to me, for viewing this program. Continue viewing this program, and we shall turn the tables in English and we'll pass KCP with flying colors. Thank you very much. God bless you.